Good morning and welcome to another episode of Daybreak. I'm your host, Veronica Buccilli.
And I'm your host, Trevor Sheets. Today on Daybreak, we'll be updating you with the latest tech news.
Informing you on the ups and downs in sports.
And what's happening all around the world.
All that and more, Daybreak starts now.
Well, I don't know about you, Veronica, but I've been enjoying the nice cool weather. I get to wear a jacket or a sweater or something, not just wearing a t-shirt.
I love it. It's my favorite time of the year. We've talked about many times, fall is great. And the pumpkins and the leaves and my little sweater. It's finally sweater weather. I'm loving it. Is it going to continue, Jess? Let us know. What's going on?
That's right, guys. It's definitely going to stay chilly here this week. Definitely some clouds up here. On Monday, we have a high of 60 and a low of 44. Gets a little higher on Tuesday with a high of 68 and a low of 48. And on Wednesday, we have a high of 63 and a low of 39. And Thursday, we got a high of 61, a low of 43. And Friday, we have a high of 67 and a low of 48. And this weekend, we definitely will see some showers here. We have a temp of 67 or so and a low of 46. And then a high of 60 on Sunday and a low of 42. So definitely going to want to wear the sweaters, you know, the jean jackets, the windbreakers, any of that stuff. But that's all I got for weather, guys. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Veronica. The one downfall about fall is that you might need an umbrella every once in a while. It's going to rain, so you can't always get outside.
Right. I mean, we're bound to have some rain. I heard that the fall foliage is not going to be as pretty this year because it's been so dry this summer. So I guess we're due for some rain, unfortunately. But let's see what's happening around campus.
If you stop by the Center for Media Innovation over the next few weeks, you might notice some cartoons with a political flair on display. Well, it's all a part of an exhibit that will be taking place at the CMI from October 20th, until November 18th. Slinging Satire, Political Cartoons, and the First Amendment is the name of the exhibit and will depict a number of political cartoons from the Toonseum, which is located here in downtown Pittsburgh. Additionally, there will be some cartoons that will be unique to the exhibit at the CMI. An opening party with a cartooning workshop will kick off the first day of the exhibit, but no more information is available at this time about the kickoff party.
The second presidential debate aired on Sunday, October 9th. And while the debate caught most of the headlines, a few students here at Point Park made news internationally. The CMI hosted a watch party for the debate, and that was open to all Point Park students. In addition to students attending, there was some media coverage of the party. There were news outlets there such as the New York Post, VTM News, a Belgian news outlet, and WTAE, who all cover the party. USG Executive Cabinet members Robert Bertha, Amedea Baldoni, and Blaine King were all featured, especially in the coverage from the VTM News. Another watch party for the final presidential debate is planned for Wednesday, again in the CMI.
Family Weekend took place here at Point Park from Friday, October 7th through Sunday, October 9th. There were many activities for students and their families to attend, both here on campus and throughout the city. Two of the bigger events were a trip out to Highland Park to visit the Pittsburgh Zoo and PPG Aquarium, and to Oakland to admire the flowers at Phipps Conservatory. On campus, COPA students treated families to a performance entitled An Evening of Rising Stars, a two-act performance that highlighted students from both theater and dance departments. Saturday night wrapped up the events by showcasing a Pittsburgh jazz trio, Full Circle, in Village Park.
It did not take long for Point Park students to start questioning Point Park's new food service provider, Culinart, the food service provider that took over for Aramark last year. It has only been operating for a month and a half, but students are not happy about the hours of operation. During last week's USG meeting, students complained about the hours of operation on weekends as well as between meals. The dining hall does not serve breakfast on weekends, and the cafe closes early on Fridays, and it's not open on Saturdays. Vice President Robert Bertha said the issue was something that it was worth looking into. Students can post any concerns they may have on the school-sponsored Facebook page.
That's it for campus news. Now let's go over to Vinny Ferranola and see what's going on in the world of sports. Vinny?
Thanks, Trevor. Pittsburgh Penguins captain Sidney Crosby will not play in the season opener tonight against the Washington Capitals. It was announced Friday that Crosby has been diagnosed with a concussion and will sit out until further notice. The starting lineup is expected to be Evgeny Malkin, Chris Kunitz, and Garrett Wilson on offense, with Chris Letang and Brian Dumoulin as top pairing on defense. Tune in at 8 p.m. tonight when the Pens hoist their 4th Stanley Cup banner above the ice at PPG Paints Arena. You won't want to miss this Metropolitan matchup. In other NHL news, the Pens aren't the only ones missing an all-star in their lineup. The Buffalo Sabres will be starting without their 19-year-old center, Jack Eichel. Eichel was helped off the ice Wednesday morning mid-practice when he fell awkwardly in front of the net during a full ice drill. He was carried off the ice by his teammates and was unable to put weight on his left leg. The Sabres will face the Montreal Canadiens tonight at 7 p.m. in Buffalo. The Pittsburgh Steelers tallied their 4th win of the season this past Sunday with a 31-13 win over the New York Jets in Week 5. The struggling Jets could not stifle the Steelers' powerful offense as Ben Roethlisberger threw for 380 yards and 4 touchdowns, averaging 11.2 yards per completion. In the last 2 games, Ben has had 0 interceptions, thrown for 9 TDs, creating 74 points and 870 yards. Truly impressive stuff from Big Number 7. Pittsburgh will be heading south for Week 6 when the Steelers take on the Dolphins in Miami. With a losing record of 1-4 on the season, the Dolphins are not excited to see Big Ben and the Steelers come to Hard Rock Stadium this Sunday. The Dolphins have allowed 11 turnovers in their last 4 games, and hey, the only Dolphins win this year is against the Browns, so let's go Steelers. That's it for your Pittsburgh sports. Back to you guys.
Coming up after the break, we have news around town and around the world.
That and more here on Daybreak.
We are a social people. We share our inspiration, wisdom, creations, and memories. We share what makes us laugh and what angers us. Built on the notion of a free flow of ideas, our country thrives on the freedom of speech. Without it, who would watch over our governing powers? And how would we share our history to make a difference for the future? It's this freedom to share that gives us a reason to listen.
All right, guys, any questions on scripts? We good to go?
Yep, right. Should be good.
All right, great. All right, yeah, camera 3 set up right there. Camera 2. All right. Use the bar when you're moving this around, but set up for the 2 shot just right there. Weather, how we doing?
It gon' rain.
Perfect.
Welcome back to Daybreak. I'm Sarah Mackin with your The real host, Adrian Billon, was seen snuggled up against.
All right, prompter. We got everything in. We're good to go? Key Pro, everything loaded. We're good to go? All right. Tyler, any questions?
That shot looks fine.
3, 2, 1. Bring up camera 2. Open mics. Cue talent.
Good morning and welcome to Daybreak. I'm Blaine King.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Aubrey Henkin.
And I'm Aaron Myler.
And this is Entertainment on Point.
Beyonce has surprised us again.
Kanye West just tweeted,
"This was a huge weekend at the box office.
A fan favorite TV show just got canceled. Guess what band is coming to the city? And the award went to...
But did you see her engagement ring?
Her outfit was awful.
I would fire her stylist.
Tune in for all of your Hollywood gossip and pop culture news.
Entertainment on Point.
Get into the point of pop culture.
yeah!
Welcome back to Daybreak, and here's your city news. Duquesne Light has announced a new partnership with Atlanta-based company AllConnect in hopes to better serve its customers. AllConnect's Free Move Advisor service provides personalized assistance to customers who want to pair their electric services with others like TV, internet, phone, and security systems. According to Duquesne Light, quote, AllConnect's customer satisfaction ranks among the top 3 companies nationwide based on its 2015 American Customer Satisfaction Index score, end quote.
President Obama came to Pittsburgh today to speak at a conference regarding worldwide innovation. The White House Frontiers Conference focuses on building U.S. capacity in science, technology, and innovation. Carnegie Mellon University and the University of Pittsburgh co-hosted the event. A truck driver was shot during an attempted armed robbery in Penn Hills Wednesday afternoon.
The SWAT team was called to the scene at the East Hill Shopping Center near Frankstown Road and Robinson Boulevard. The victim was taken to the hospital after being grazed by a bullet. One woman told WPXI she heard at least 5 gunshots. According to WPXI, SWAT officers were led to a nearby apartment on Bracey Avenue. After canines tracked the shooters sent from the shopping center, 2 people were detained and taken into police custody for questioning. The identity of the suspects have not been released.
Now to take a look at what's going on across the country, let's go over to Taylor at the Daybreak News Desk. Taylor?
Thanks, Veronica. The Obama administration is confident Russia is behind recent email hackings concerning the upcoming U.S. elections. According to the administration, the goal of the hackings were to interfere with the election process. The breach of Democratic National Committee emails and the websites of other Democratic Party-linked organizations caused the Obama administration to believe Russia was the culprit. The Department of Homeland Security and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence said in a joint statement, quote, "The recent disclosures of alleged hacked emails on sites like DCLeaks.com and WikiLeaks are consistent with the methods and motivations of Russian-directed efforts," end quote. According to Russian presidential spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, Russia rejected the U.S. accusations and added, quote, "This is some kind of U.S. nonsense again," end quote. A U.S. senior official stated that the Obama administration is currently focusing on ensuring the American people the upcoming election process will not be interfered with. In other news, on Monday, House Speaker Paul Ryan announced that he will no longer defend GOP nominee Donald Trump. He stated he will instead use the next 29 days before the election to focus on preserving his party's hold in Congress. His decision came after a story on Trump by the Washington Post was released last Friday. The story revealed Trump made lewd and sexually aggressive comments about women in 2005 that were caught on a hot microphone. Ryan, however, did not say Monday whether or not he was withdrawing his endorsement of Trump, but he did make it clear that he would no longer provide support for his party's presidential candidate. Trump and Ryan were set to appear together in Wisconsin last Saturday, but Ryan did not attend. There's everything you need to know. Now let's get back to the couch with Veronica and Trevor.
Thank you, Taylor. After the break, hear about tech news truly out of this world.
And who's in the entertainment spotlight now?
Stick around. This is Daybreak.
Here on the Pioneer Sideline, we talk a lot about sports in the studio, but it's beforehand when the conversation is actually interesting.
I hope I have enough powder on. I don't want to be too shiny on camera.
No, Trevor, I think it looks good every week you pull it off.
Ah, thanks, Phil. Man, your hair looks great tonight, by the way.
You sure? Yeah, I mean, I got a new haircut, but it looks all right.
Perfect.
Hey, guys. Does this make me look fat?
No, you look great. You look good.
Yeah, Kyle.
Thanks. I was really...
Sports! Yeah!
Ever wanted to be behind the mic and have the world listening to your show on campus? Well, it's just as simple as joining WPPJ, Point Park's student-run radio station, located on the second floor of Lawrence Hall, right next to the dining services. Listeners can tune in using Point Park's website or through the TuneIn app by searching WPPJ. WPPJ welcomes any new DJs that want to get involved, so be heard. Do you have what it takes?
Well, no one showed up to the show tonight. Follow my lead. In 3, 2, take 2, Open Mics Q Talent. Good evening and welcome to UView News. I'm Josh Croup. We begin with breaking news out of West Penn Hall. Ready, 3, take lower third. Traffic is backed up in the West Penn elevator line after elevator 1 broke down on the 7th floor. Lose lower third. Maintenance advises students to take the stairs to avoid delays. Ready, 2, take 2. In other news, no, you know what? I didn't sign up for this. We need crew. Join UView. Take alien hand transition.
Welcome back to Daybreak. Today for tech we have some stellar, or should I say interstellar news. NASA is taking a multi-step approach to its ultimate goal of putting boots on Mars. The journey begins in low Earth orbit aboard the International Space Station, which has hosted rotating crews continuously since November of 2000. During this time, NASA and its ISS partners have been learning more and more about how to support astronauts on space missions. This effort took a big step forward this past March when NASA astronaut Scott Kelly wrapped up an unprecedented 11-month mission aboard the orbiting lab that gave researchers new data about the physiological and psychological effects of long-duration spaceflight. In the next 10 years, NASA plans to extend the reach of human spaceflight, out near the moon to test spaceflight gear such as the Space Launch System Mega Rocket and Orion Crew capsule, both of which are in development. For example, in the mid-2020s, the agency plans to send astronauts out to lunar orbit to visit an asteroid boulder dragged there by a robotic spacecraft. After the proving ground comes the journey to Mars itself. Current plans call for sending astronauts to Mars orbit in the early 2030s, with trips to the surface coming sometime after that. NASA officials have said they hope to eventually set up a small outpost on the red planet where astronauts would search for signs of Mars life and perform other research. Well, back on Earth, Windows released their brand new Surface Pro 4. Surface Pro 4 runs all the desktop software you rely on while being lighter than ever, starting at 1.69 pounds. The 12.3-inch PixelSense display has extremely high contrast and low glare. Go from laptop to tablet with the multi-position kickstand and keyboard, and jot down notes and ideas with the Surface Pen and the improved type cover. When you need to connect to other devices and accessories, Surface Pro 4 has advanced wireless capabilities and all the ports you need. It runs on either an i3, i5, or i7 Intel Core processor and runs faster and smoother than ever. If you want this nice gift for Christmas, you better bring out the checkbook because it's not cheap. Even the cheapest model starts at $900, which is incredibly overpriced. Surface Pro 4, more like Surface Pro Forget About It. That's it for tech news. Now let's go over to our pro on entertainment, Casey Houlihan. Casey?
Thanks, Phil. If you were one of the 84 million people watching the presidential debate last week, you might recognize the name Ken Bone. Bone was one of the undecided voters who had the opportunity to ask the candidates a question during the second debate. Bone stood out with his positive and sincere question in what many saw as an ugly debate. His question confronted an issue that connects with many Americans: how the candidates plan to meet America's energy needs while minimizing layoffs and being green. Bone became a viral star after appearing on the debate, with fans setting up Twitter and Facebook pages. He has been referred to as America's sweetheart, and lookalikes of his outfit quickly sold out online. Most recently, there was a Bone-inspired Halloween costume, which has now sold out as well. When Ken's wife, Heather Bone, learned of the costume, she told the New York Times, quote, "I hope I don't see a red sweater and kiss the wrong guy," end quote. In another top trending story this week, congratulations are in order for singer Janet Jackson. In an exclusive interview with People magazine, pop star Jackson officially confirmed that she is pregnant. Along with her official statement, Jackson also released photos of her growing baby bump. Janet had just turned 50 and had delayed her Unbreakable World Tour earlier this year in order to start a family with her husband, Wissam Almana. This is the couple's first child together since their marriage in 2012. Congratulations and good luck to them both. Finally, another huge announcement this week came from CoverGirl magazine when they released photos of their first ever male cover boy, James Charles. Charles, 17, is the first ever male to be an official spokesperson for the company. Charles is a social media star with over 400,000 followers on Instagram and is also well known for his makeup tutorials on YouTube. The news received a positive response, and the hashtag CoverGirlJames was soon trending worldwide on Twitter. Commercials and advertisements featuring Charles will be released soon. That's all I have for this week. Let's go back to our very own male model, Trevor, back on the couch.
Thanks, Casey. And after the break, we'll be rejoined here by Casey to talk a little bit about politics.
See what we got in store here on Daybreak.
Did you know that Point Park has a cheerleading squad?
Don't stop. Don't get it confused.
Not only do our cheerleaders represent Point Park at regional and national competitions, but they also promote spirit and awareness of every sports team on campus. Come to any men's or women's varsity basketball game at home to watch the cheerleaders perform at halftime and cheer from the sidelines from the first jump ball to the final buzzer. Sports not your thing? You can catch the cheer team lead the crowd at the fall and spring pep rallies as well, or at several competitions around Pittsburgh each year. So what are you waiting for? Show the Point Park cheerleaders the support they show you.
Every human being has a purpose, has a dream to have their voices heard, no matter where they come from, no matter where they go. As an American, it is their right to have freedom of speech. I have a dream that one day this message will speak louder than words, that even the quietest voice will not go unnoticed. That is my dream. What is yours? For more information, visit www.freedomofspeechpsa.org.
Welcome back to Daybreak. In light of the second presidential debate, Trevor and I, along with Daybreak political news team here, including Casey Houlihan, we're going to talk about the recent political news. So, Trevor, go ahead and you can ask our first question. What did you think about the debate?
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't able to view the entirety of the debate. I heard about the chaotic mess that it was, to put it nicely. But, Casey, who won the debate?
Who won the debate? I would have to say Hillary, because she was definitely got thrown a lot of things at her, a lot of criticisms. A lot of people said she got more negativity, and she really did keep it together, you know, and I can't imagine doing that. I would not be able to do that. I'm way too of an emotional person. But Donald Trump did have a few moments where he seemed a little bit angry at the correspondents. He made some comments about how they weren't being fair to him the whole time. They were picking on him. It was pretty childish, I think, but that's I would say Hillary for this debate, but it was ridiculous all around, to be honest.
I was listening to some post-debate commentary and analytics, and although people did think that Hillary maybe won, others thought Trump won, and of course we know which news stations also thought were partisan on that issue.
Yeah.
But I think that, like you were saying about the childish behavior, as you put it, toward the correspondents, that kind of behavior resonates with his voters, actually. I mean, they are supporting him because they do believe that the political world in Washington is rigged. So if you're a Donald Trump supporter, I think that they have a totally different opinion on something like that. That did resonate with him. So did he gain new voters? I don't think so. But I think it really pumped up his voters that are already, supporting him. So, and that goes for Hillary as well. I don't know. I'm kind of filling you in now, aren't I, Trevor?
A little bit. I'm well educated now.
So I think that, Hillary's supporters also thought she won the debate for the reasons in which they support her, the reasons in which they find that resonates with them, the issues in which she talks about. So it really, we can talk all day about who won, but you can, it just depends on who you're voting for, really. So let's talk about some of the flaws, though, maybe in the candidates, in each one.
Something different, something not just the same old,
I know,
Donald doesn't know how to speak, and Hillary just kind of sits there and nods her head.
We keep hearing the same arguments. I think one of Hillary's weaknesses, she doesn't like to directly one of the questions at the end actually was that they had to compliment one another. And Hillary answered first, and she gave a nice answer. She said she really thinks his kids have been raised to be respectable adults, and they are just, they seem like great people. They're doing good things, which was nice. Then she went on to ramble and further her political agenda. That was not the question.
Right.
Donald Trump gave an answer to the question, and that was it.
Right.
So I think she would gain, it would be in her best interest to be more direct.
To the point and actually just answer the question. And that's what I think is actually maybe a flaw of Hillary that we don't hear a lot, is that she is furthering her political agenda almost to ad nauseum. So,
that's partially because she actually has a political agenda, as opposed to Donald Trump, who kind of just wanders around like a blithering idiot for a couple hours and happens to throw out a couple of tidbits that kind of resemble like he has a clue.
Wow, Trevor, you spoke. You have spoken.
I did. I know.
I'm glad you have.
I have a couple of opinions, but just mostly not on this debate.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's also, I think, an obvious flaw, maybe, if you're not a Trump supporter of Donald Trump. But, you know, Hillary Clinton obviously is a politician. She's a seasoned politician. She has been her whole life. So I think that it's just, you know, a habit of hers to, you know, further her political agenda. But that is some criticism that she's getting on the other side of this whole narrative that Washington is corrupt. People are saying, well, all Hillary wants to talk about is what she's done or hasn't done, and all she wants to do, she has an agenda. She has these people's pockets lined. She's, you know, it's a corrupt, you know, place, Washington. So maybe that's a little bit of a criticism of her or a flaw that isn't talked about a lot. Like you said, if you missed the debate in the last 2 minutes, they asked each candidate what they admire about one another, and the whole crowd laughed.
Yeah.
Because it has been such a heated debate.
Oh,
and like you said,
it's been much more angry than just being able to cooperate with each other.
exactly. I feel like people are so polarized, and obviously you are too, apparently.
bit.
So,
See, I'm polarized against Trump. That doesn't necessarily mean, though, that I'm with her.
Right.
It's just, I can't imagine Donald Trump being our next president, but that's just my personal view.
and that's a misconception, I think, of a lot of people, that if you're Casey's
You're only one way or the other.
right, yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's absolutely not
you're
true.
a Republican, so you have to vote Republican, or you're a Democrat and you have to vote Democrat. But I don't know. What do you think about? Do you think either candidate has a secret weapon?
I'm not sure. I mean, what can possibly happen that hasn't already happened? Secret weapons, I mean, Hillary could find more, her campaign could find more tapes on Trump. I mean, like,
I'm assuming someone will, because
you know,
it's
he was on The
been
Apprentice for years. That show was, you know, politically incorrect, as some people might put it. So you can pull lots of things from there. People already have. I don't know if we're going to keep harping on the Hillary email issue. They're still bringing it up. Whether they have another form of attack, maybe they'll go back to Benghazi.
That would be smart on their part, you know?
They haven't talked about it for a while, and
Right.
it really wasn't part of the last debate, which I think was a weakness.
And I agree. And I think we have the media to thank for that, because they choose.
Please don't go into the media.
They choose in what they cover, and they haven't covered Benghazi. And neither has Trump, though. He hasn't brought it up, so nobody's covered it. So, you know, that's the way that the world works. But I think that a secret weapon, as far as Hillary goes, is that she has experience, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, and whatever you think your opinion on it is. And that, I think she does talk about it, but she needs to talk more about the things that she's done that aren't so controversial. Like, she needs, and her supporters need to know, what have you actually done? Because Donald Trump, for the undecided voters, Donald Trump is saying, well, you've been in there for 30 years and you haven't done anything. So I think she needs to, you know, combat that by saying, this is specifically what I've actually done.
She released a feature on her website that was trending on Twitter where you can press shuffle and it brings up a year, and side by side, obviously it's a biased source, it is her website, but it has something Hillary was doing that year that was in the press and something Trump was doing that year that's in the press.
Well, I think that's unfair. He was a citizen like you and I. He wasn't a politician. What is he going to do? Obviously,
well, no,
it's in
that's her
business.
answer to what she's been doing, though, for the past 30 years.
Right, no, that's great, I think.
Which is an answer.
Right, it is, for sure. I think she should, you know, maybe make more ads about it, but I think we're all sick of seeing ads. So hopefully the next debate is a little bit more informational, that it maybe isn't as ugly. I don't know, but all that I know is we don't know who's going to win, and we'll see. But all right, well, thank you, Casey. That's all we have for Daybreak.
Yes, make sure to join us again next week for the news you need. I'm Trevor Sheets.
And I'm Veronica Bucilli, here on Daybreak, hoping your news is good news.
So that happened.